Hi again, this is Dr. Dan Ritchie, president of the Functional Aging Institute, and today I'm going to have a brief conversation with Nicole Gephardt from The Remarkable Way, and we're going to talk a little bit about small business marketing and then a workshop she's got upcoming for personal trainers and specifically for Functional Aging Institute. So thanks for doing this, Nicole, taking a little time out of your day.
Morning, thank you.
So I just want to ask you to share a couple stories because I know I've been to several of your marketing workshops now over the last several years with a bunch of different small business owners from plumbers to graphic artists to, I mean, you name it, nonprofits, all sorts of things. I've seen you help, you know, companies 10 times larger than mine and startups and everything in between. But there seems to be sort of a common problem that a lot of small businesses have, and that's sort of effective marketing strategies, really an effective marketing plan. And I see this in the fitness industry a lot, right? It's sort of like, oh, well, what's my promotion for next week or next month, or where are my leads coming from, or I need new clients, and so we're constantly in this sort of state of panic. So, can you share a couple insights in terms of kind of what you've seen over the last several years coaching businesses?
Yeah, that state of panic is what I can't stand as a business owner. And I coined a term for it. I call it random acts of marketing. And if you know my basic principle, I had a 12-year career with Caterpillar. I was very blessed. I worked for 6 Caterpillar vice presidents and vice president-elects. So what that afforded me the opportunity to do was sit at the table with them when they were developing their strategy for the upcoming year. In fact, many of the times I was the note-taking girl. I was the girl running the whiteboard and the conversation. So great inside look at how do you build an effective strategy, and how do you kind of just flesh out all the ideas and the mixes and get something onto paper that's going to work for people. Along the same time as I was working, I loved my job, but I was under a tremendous amount of stress. And it was prolonged stress, which is, of course, not healthy stress. And so those two things kind of blended together when I came home to raise my girls. And I started spending time with more and more entrepreneurs, and I saw they were under prolonged stress all the time, too. And they didn't understand what a strategy could do for them and what some simple things were that they could put into place for their business that would make everything so much less stressful. And so that was really kind of a gift that I could bring to the table. So it really started when a friend said, can you come over to my house and sit down with me and just show me how to use Facebook for my business, because I don't know. And at this point, I hadn't started my business. I was doing freelance design. My actual degree is in graphic design, and then I did 12 years of corporate PR and communication strategy. So I sat down next to her and I started showing her, well, this is how you use Facebook, and this is how you could apply it and what it could do for you. And she started crying, and she just sat there, and she was in total overwhelm. And she just said, I don't know what to do. I'm really good at what I do, but my business I'm losing money. I can't keep this up. My business was supposed to be the one that funded the girls' college, and I'm in debt. And she was devastated. And I realized at that moment, I knew stuff that could help her. And that was a big moment for me where I said, wow, there are people who really need my skills. And I don't approach things from the typical marketing agency advertising kind of perspective. In fact, I've sat down with a couple of agencies to look at maybe a partnership where I could help my clients get implementation originally through them. And I look at things so much differently than an agency does that we don't blend. I think I have a realistic perspective of, I'm a solo entrepreneur too. And when I started really doing this, as a marketer, I'm supposed to be on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest, and I'm supposed to be in Instagram, and oh my gosh, and I'm supposed to be all of these places. And, I was supposed to be doing a print newsletter and these monthly workshops that I was running, and I was following what everybody told me to do, and I'd built something miserable for myself. And I stepped back and said, this isn't the business I'd want, and I don't want to teach people this business either. So what I really specialize in now is sitting down with people and saying, how do you want to build your business? And then how do we create some systems, just like we would a corporate strategy, to say, okay, these are the pieces we need in place. Let's develop a plan to get those in place. And then once they're in place, we don't have to worry about them anymore. And so that's what I do. And that's where the workshop kind of formed out of that is. I like to do it in small groups, and we build the strategies you need. And so in this workshop in Indy, we'll talk about it more, but we're going to build 5 systems together that will make your life so much better.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I see this, one of the big challenges that fitness owners have is they're training clients. So they're busy doing what they're good at. Like the story you shared, she's really good at what she does. She just doesn't have enough clients coming in. She doesn't have enough leads. Maybe she doesn't even want to do the marketing work, right? Like that's not her. Like no, nobody signed up to say, well, wait a minute, I got to post on Facebook and do email marketing and all these things that I don't want to do. I just want to train clients. So can you help people kind of simplify that, systematize it so that they don't feel like they're spending their whole 40 hours a week doing marketing stuff?
Yeah, that is my specialty. That's what I love to do. I like to create bucket work. We've done a webinar together where we went through some buckets that you create. How do you take Facebook and get 6 months worth of Facebook done in one afternoon, right?
Right.
And how do I automate some key systems? Those are the conversations we're going to have in this one day. Um, one of my favorite things is a basic checklist. And I tell a neat story about a guy who was working for a Six Sigma consulting firm. And he was at this firm, and they ended up getting hired by one of the top heart hospitals, which actually happens to be in our community. And they were hired as a firm to come in and take a look at how heart attack patients are treated when they come in to emergency room, and what's the process and how can we improve it to save more lives. So they did this whole 6 month study on what was happening, and they created a basic checklist. And that checklist improved the survival rate by something like 30% at hospitals, and now it's used at hospitals across the nation. And it was, at the time, it was a basic checklist they put on a clipboard. And it was what needs to be done first, then second, and then third, and then fourth. And the cool thing is when you have a checklist, now I can delegate it, right? So I can sit down with you, Dan, the owner, and create a checklist for your trainers that are running the front desk. And so now they know every time a new client comes in, here's exactly what we're going to go through. And I'm going to do this checklist. And then we look at the checklist and we say, wow, what could we add that is a little bit cooler, right? Now that I'm thinking it through and I'm in the quiet of my home, or right, with the door shut, how could I make this one step cooler? And that's part of what we're going to talk about is, little things that you can do that just make it, people go, wow, cool, or I'm glad I make this decision. We talk about sticks, right? So buyer remorse, what happens when somebody signs a $1,000 contract with you and goes home and 12 hours or later they're going, oh my gosh, what did I do, right? They're great. There are great simple things to overcome that, to help, make sure that their people aren't experiencing buyer remorse. So those are all little things. The checklists are a big part of what we're going to build out when we get together.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't you tell us, shed some light on you mentioned 5 systems. So shed some light on each of these 5 systems and what somebody that comes to the workshop is going to get for the day.
Okay. So the first system we're going to build out is the leads system. And in an ideal situation, once you figure out what works for bringing leads into you, then you know how to control it, right? So if I need more leads at certain times of the year, I can turn the dial up and more leads come in. When I need fewer leads, then I can turn the dial down and fewer leads are coming in. So our goal is to find what works for you. And, it was funny, I was on the phone to one of your trainers the other day. We're talking about launching a book for her. And she said, I mentioned something about Twitter. And she said, oh, do I have to get on Twitter? And I said, oh, wait, no, not at all. What do you want to do? I'm not about building marketing plans of things people don't want to do. My own brother has a business, and he took a course a long time ago, and he said, do I have to get on social media? And I said, do you want to be on social media? And he said, no. And I said, well, then we're not going to build a plan and put you on social media. So we find out, what do you want to adopt? And we create a plan to do that. So then we find the lead systems that are going to work for you. And then once we know, let's get it into place. You're going to have to do some work to get it into place. But once it's in a place, then it's easily repeatable, duplicatable, delegatable. That's our goal in the first system. The next system is the email follow-up system, right? So that's the beautiful thing about email. We can create a follow-up campaign easily that takes a cold lead that comes in, and let's say they're going to opt in or get on your email list for some reason. And now I can create a system that's following up with these people in a logical order for the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever it takes, that's just going to follow up with them and check in. And every person comes into the same follow-up sequence. So, the hard thing about blogging is people, you get a guy that's been on your list for 3 months getting the same blog article as somebody who's been on there for 3 days. and they may not be ready for the same type of information or the same frequency. So by setting up an email system and automating it, I can take everybody through the same decision-making process based on how long they've been in the list. So that's the second system we're going to create together. And we're going to build out what 6 months of email might look like for you, right? The third system is the onboarding system. This is one of my favorite. And this is all about creating the little wow moments, right? So when somebody finally comes in as either a 6-week trial, how do you create a little wow experience with that? How do you make sure with a checklist that your trainers go through everything we need to convert a 6-week trial into a 1-year trial? And then when they sign that $1,000 contract or whatever it is, how do I convert, how do I avoid buyer's remorse? How do I make it a wow experience? And one of the most important things is when people first sign on, that first few days after they do are the best time for you to get referrals from them. So we've covered that discussion in the onboarding, right? So at that point, they're still ready to brag, wow, I just did this, and they don't feel as subconscious, which that they will 3 years down the road when they're like, I'm fit and you're not, you should have done what I did. Different conversation. So
Right.
yeah. So onboarding is the third one. The next one is the relationship building system. So how can we automate things for you so that your existing clients know, like, and trust you completely the whole time, right? How do we create little wow moments, celebrate little anniversaries, celebrate holidays, do some fun things when they're coming in at different times of the year? How can we do that to make it always a dating relationship with your clients? And the last one is the referral system. So how do I take every lead and turn them into another client, or every client turn them into another client? I love when they say, the easiest way to double your business is to get everybody to refer one business or one person. So there are things you can do to improve the odds of having that happen. So that's the last system we build, is the referral system. And how do we do that? Again, the whole goal with everything is, let me take you through a thought process, and you build it once, and then you've got a plan. Now, once it's in place, I don't have to keep thinking about it. Now I know what I'm doing and why. So,
Okay. So you're going to take us through all 5 of those systems in one day, and essentially come out the other side of that day, and I'm going to have a plan for marketing for 30 days, 60 days. How long is this going to be good for?
That's the cool thing. All right. So the first thing is, we're going to go through all 5 things, or all 5 systems. And the nice thing is, everybody in the room is a personal trainer. I've taught this course for 3 or 4 years, and I've taught it with a mix of people where we've had not-for-profits and plumbers in the same room. So this is really nice. Everybody's in the same business. So we can really dig in with more specific ideas, and you're going to find the ones that work for you. And then at the end of the day, we're going to take all the things that you want to do, and we're going to use my proprietary blueprint map. And I'm going to help you figure out how to get the work done. So you're building 5 systems. So you're going to have 5 projects that you need to figure out how to get done. And each project's going to have some pieces. But I show you how to slot that into a calendar that says, you know what? I'm going to build my relationship system, but I'm going to put it on the calendar that I'm going to worry about that in March, because I got other things that I feel like are more important. So I show you how to prioritize, and you're actually going to walk out of there with an exact plan. It's something that my clients love. They post it on their wall. They tell me, they come back to me and they go, you know what? I'm behind by a couple of weeks from where I really wanted to be, but it's getting done, and I love you for it. So that's what this plan really does. It's a blueprint. It's an oversized map of the things you want to build. And you're building systems that can last you for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, the entire length of your business. You can just look at them and go, you know what, that we're going to tweak it here or there. But I think people are looking want a calendar of things I'm going to do. I'm going to run an ad here and there, and that's not that's what people want. But that's again random acts of marketing more. What we're doing is building 5 systems in a day that will last you a very long time.
That's great. I think that's a huge key that's missing from a lot of fitness businesses. Certainly if you're just starting a fitness business, you need to make sure your systems are in place, because like you said, if you just run the systems, then you have a plan for the next 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, however long you want it to go, and you're not flying by the seat of your pants like I see so many people doing, especially in the fitness industry. Well, I'll try this 6-week contest, and then I'll try this, and so yeah, I think that's really key. So we're doing this at ACSM headquarters in downtown Indianapolis, Saturday, January 23rd, 9 to 4. Is that the
9 a.m. to 4.
okay?
We start on time, and my goal is to end on time. I'll stick around if people want to kind of spend some time with me after that. But yeah, we start on time, end on time. It is a full day. It's a working day. But yeah, our goal is to get you a plan that when you walk out of there, you know exactly what you're going to go do. I'm going to share some resources, some tips, some insider stuff that'll make it easier. So even if you have nobody to delegate to, I'm going to show you where you can get some really great help at great prices, really cheap prices. And so my goal is just to, you walk out of there, you know, again, I want you to worry about this less. Your business should be fun. You guys have, as personal trainers, you have a very important mission. But if people don't know about what you're doing, and then you're not helping the people you need to. And I love the FAI mission, right? So we're going to change lives around the world. So it all starts with making sure everybody knows where you're at, and you've got to survive as a business owner so you can do what you're called to do.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I know one of the marketing coaches that I have listened to for years says often that there is someone out there right now crying themselves to sleep because they can't find you, and you are their solution, but they haven't found you because you're not doing a good enough job marketing to them. So yeah, that's great. Love that you're doing this for Functional Agent Institute and personal trainers. Again, there's information if you want to check it out. Just click the link. I think we've got 12 seats, so it's not like this is going to be a big room, and there's not a lot of seats left. So grab a seat. Any closing thoughts, Nicole, before we close out the interview and let people check out the page?
Yeah, will plug this. When you register, you're going to get a book from me. It's called See It, 7 Days to Remarkable Clarity on Your Ideal Client and Why They Buy. So I'm going to give you some information, some things you can dig into over the holidays if you want, get started on it so that when you show up, you're even more prepared. You don't need to, but you're going to get that gift from me. So that's
Homework in advance.
homework
So,
in advance, right?
so when they register, they get that immediately PDF. Is that how that's
Oh,
coming?
a real physical copy in the mail. We're going to talk about
Wow,
why that's important, right? So,
that is, yeah, okay. An actual manual that I got to actually read and work through. Okay, cool, cool.
you know, the last thing I want to address is we've kept this price intentionally low. It is, you know, I'll be honest, it's half of what at least half, actually, what I would normally charge for this. But we did that because we recognize that personal trainers need help. And so that was an agreement that you and I made. Let's get them in the room and let's help them. But the price does not reflect the value of what we're offering here. I do want to plug that a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, for somebody to get 5 systems that are going to help them run their business for 1 to 2 years is definitely worth more than $199. There's no doubt about it. So, all right. Well, thanks for sharing some insights, and look forward to this workshop January 23rd. So, click the link to check it out. We've only got 12 seats. It's not a big workshop room. Though I can tell you, American College of Sports Medicine headquarters is a really cool place. We've had a workshop there before, so kind of cool to see the fitness history from the 1920s and before. So it's kind of interesting. So thanks again, Nicole. We will see you in January.
Very good.